Hey, how's it going, guys, and welcome back to some more reveal of Total War Warhammer 2. It's very exciting stuff. We've now got to see today the campaign map for the first time. So this is me doing this live, reacting to the video that's just been released on their channel. It's exciting stuff, as I say, because campaign maps on any Total War game is a big thing. It's pretty much the heart and soul of any Total War game, really. So to see it now for the first time on Warhammer 2 is fantastic. So yeah, what I'm going to do, as I say, I'm going to run through this live with you now, pause the video as we go along to just talk about bits that I've seen on the campaign map, my thoughts and impressions on it, and little bits that I picked up on the live stream that they did when they first revealed the campaign map. What about, at the time it's getting uploaded, about an hour ago basically. So let's crack on, guys, and let's run through it. Okay then, guys, here we go, and you can see straight away as the camera pans across the campaign map how atmospheric it looks. They've done a great job in capturing the feel of the new world here. Warhammer 2 is no different to the Total War titles gone by. We've seen that obviously as each title has been released, the campaign maps get better and better and better, and this is no different. Obviously the difference between this and Warhammer 1 is not massive because the development time hasn't been that long to allow it to be a massive step forward in how it looks, but still it's very, very impressive indeed. It's so atmospheric and looks beautiful. I love these sort of light effects on top of the mountains and the rainbows you can see in certain places. Now this is the lands of the High Elves, and you can see it's a very beautiful area of the new world. A place where I would like to live, I think, and it just seems to encapsulate their sort of high opinions of themselves. Obviously, they're a very proud race, aren't they? You can see that in their armour and how they look on the battlefield. Remember, I talked about it very much so in that video I did of the Fallen Gates battle, the quest battle I did last week. Their armour is magnificent. It looks like their lands where they live is no difference. But yeah, the vortex there is challenging. I say challenging. It's channeling all its energy into that altar there. So I want you to tell me in the comments, because I'm not too up to to scratch with the Warhammer lore. But what is that altar? Obviously, it's a High Elven altar. So they're obviously trying to control the vortex to keep it in check. You can see the electrical storms coming off the sides of it there, but it seems like all the energy is funneling into that one central altar. So yeah, what is that place called? I'd like to know. So you can see the start to continue moving around the map here. But what you get this sense of is that it's sort of a kingdom that is protected from the outer lands. You know, you can see it in each sort of opening of the mountains there. They've got gates to protect their borders, so it keeps the scum that they'd regard as scum out of the High Elven lands and protects their realm from invasion. Now, one thing that does interest me here is the fact that with these gates, we can see these walls here. Is that going to be a new type of battle in Warhammer 2 where we'll have actual fights if you're playing against the High Elves, where you can actually fight them at these gates, and if you win those style of battles, then it'll allow you to break through into their lands and invade their territories, but if only you defeat them at these gates. So that could be a new type of battle we could see, in this game, which is really interesting.
Exploit its wild energies. Still others seek to heal the cyclone and preserve the order. Each race must perform a series of arcane rituals, both to decide the fate of the vortex.
So you can see there that here, from what the advisors have said, it seems like it's the same advisor from the first game. But yeah, if races, the High Elves or Lizardmen or the Dark Elves, Skaven, they get into the vortex, they have to perform these rituals. I don't know if it's to get to the vortex itself, but once you've got to the vortex, you've got to try and perform these rituals to try and master it into their way of thinking and control it in how they want to.
and prevent the other races from achieving victory.
Yeah, it says there, doesn't it? Achieving victory against other races.
A closer look at the high elves.
I love the art style here, which, you know, high elves, elves of any nature, have always got a beautiful art style to them. We've seen it in Lord of the Rings, in Rivendell and places like that. They look absolutely superb in their design and how their buildings, their architecture, as I said, how they look in their armor. It's really, really smart and beautiful in that regard. And look at this elven city here, these towers. It reminds me a bit like Bretonia in that regard. You know, obviously the tall spires you get in their kingdoms, but it looks like all the walls they've got and the bays they've got, where the ships can come into the harbours. It looks really good in that regard.
Tyrion, they are a proud, arrogant.
You can see this is Lord Tyrion here, one of the two legendary lords for the High Elves. Now Teclis is further down the map, and we'll see him in a bit, but he has a definite unique starting position to Tyrion. So Teclis is really far south. As I say, we'll see him in a minute.
Of the magical arts.
But yeah, look at this, beautiful territories.
The High Elves are in love with politics, and the most
look at that. That's some sort of like mage or sort of elven princess of some regard. She's on some sort of chariot there, so she could just be a lord. Obviously not a legendary lord, but a lord on the campaign map there. And this spire, look at that beautiful spire there. That elven city.
The most
gorgeous stuff, guys. I mean, I'm really impressed. I'm very tempted to play as these guys. I really am. I mean, I want to see the Dark Elves, but wow, these are impressive. This is a Sun Dragon we've seen, obviously, them in full battle on the Fallen Gates.
The High Elves are also master traders and exploit.
This is interesting as well. I don't know if this is an animation for his campaign map reveal, or when he said about trading here. Is this a new sort of cinematic or mechanic that will happen when you start trading with other nations and other factions? Will you see this sort of, I don't know, a little bit of a mini cutscene happen on the map where two major parties within each race come together to talk out their diplomacy, to talk out their trade agreements, and then they all then part and go their various ways they need to once the deal's being done? I don't know, but it looks like interesting how they're doing it there. I like it. Yeah, just a little bit of a side note, really.
North of Althwen lie vast, near unassailable fortress gates.
Yeah, these are the gates I mentioned as well again.
Reaches of the elven homelands. It would take a formidable force indeed to breach these. Yeah,
see, that's where for me it does seem to suggest that we're going to have some sort of gate battles here in this game, and they would be absolutely terrific. Can you imagine a high elf army lining up all its archers on the gate there and firing down onto the enemies as they ascend to the walls and have to get the ladders up onto the walls? It'd be like a Helm's Deep kind of scenario, wouldn't it? It'd be amazing. And then obviously the enemy get onto the walls, they breach them, they fight on the walls against the High Elves, and then they sort of capture the gates open, then this allows the other army to swarm in. It'd be absolutely terrific. I really am excited, and I hope that is the case. I'm not just surmising it and just going overboard. I really think this could be a kind of battle type we're going to see in this game.
And now, the elves have enacted a ritual. This puts them one step closer to stabilizing the vortex.
So it seems to be you sort of have ritual chains where you have to enable them and complete them to get closer and closer to stabilizing the vortex. This is interesting. Now we get to see some sort of naval sort of animation. So it looks like obviously boats are making return. We know that boats are making return on Warhammer 2. We see naval combats coming back into play. We won't actually be able to control the naval the ships in battle like we could on Rome 2 and Attila, but there'll be order resolves as I thought, as the designers have said. But it looks like from that sort of storm we saw then, as that boat was going towards that storm, we get the impression that there will be some scenarios and sort of mini event chains that will play out as you encounter these storms, and you have to try and choose which way you would go about it, and it depends on what choice you make will be the outcome of it. So yeah, there are also many stories that are sort of centered around the naval aspect of the game.
even skirting the coastline.
Now we see here, these are the first shots we get of the vampire coast on the edge of Lustria here. So this is some sort of like vampire faction from the old world it's come across.
Certain races of the old world have gained footholds.
Nice. Well, maybe I had to get to play these sort of nations
or make allies of
as DLCs possibly. Interesting. But yeah, the vampire pirates there, the vampire coast, showing itself on the campaign. Now, this is one of the new features of the campaign map. So these abandoned settlements. Now, we know from before we can take and recapture abandoned settlements. It takes quite a lot of income and manpower to do it, but it can be achieved. So you can still do that on Warhammer 2, but now what you could do instead of trying to take it and recapture or reclaim it, you can now treasure hunt on the campaign map, and treasure hunting will allow you to delve into these regions, I believe, and find potential buried treasure. It's not going to be an absolute 100% success rate every time. It's sort of, you choose your own adventure with it, apparently, and it's something you can not 100% gain benefits from, like treasure, income, recruits, things like that. Or you could take a penalty hit where you could receive some army damage, a curse, maybe chaos, corruption. Something will happen in a negative way as well. And so they are pre-generated, I believe, these areas where they are going to be positioned. So eventually they will repeat for the player. So you will know the end result if you keep playing the same campaigns, I believe. But there's going to be a large amount of them as well. So I don't know if the treasure hunting is just connected to the actual settlements, or it's actually dotted around in other parts of the campaign map as well. So it's trying to give you that element of, like, Southern America, the Aztecs, the gold in those sort of worlds that we had in the past in history, trying to represent that again in Warhammer 2.
Lurk in the depths, however. Be ever watchful, for rogue armies roam these lands. Composed of warriors from many races, they lay aside their former animosities and band together in the pursuit of riches and power.
So again, yeah, they're rogue armies. So that's a new feature of Warhammer 2. So armies get together from various factions, mixed all together. So you could have like Lizardmen, some sort of wood elves, it looks like there. I don't know, some sort of high elven sub-factions, I don't know, get together as rogues and will form up this rebel-style army. Probably they'll be quite powerful, I would imagine, if they start to gain XP quite quickly. And they can roam the lands and cause absolute havoc. So yeah, rogue armies is coming into Warhammer 2 in that way. So we'll probably see more about them and more of the features about them soon. But yeah, they are going to be a sort of a factor you're going to have to take into account on this game.
Not all legendary lords campaign within their homelands. The High Elf Archmage Teclis begins here on the Turtle Isles.
So here we go, as I said to you. By the way, I just love the designs of the elven ships, the swans on the fronts of them. Beautiful. Again, I keep saying beautiful because that's what I think about the High Elves. It is a beautiful nation, faction, say nation, faction. Really, really smart looking race. And yeah, so that is the boat there with that swan style front to it. Very nice. But yes, most importantly, of course, here is Teclis. This is where I was saying to you before about Teclis. He is situated really far south to his brother Tyrion, and he starts here, so you could have a really unique experience with whatever faction or legendary lord, I should say, you choose from the High Elves. And it's probably the case for the other factions as well. Different areas of starting positions. We know that's going to be the case. It's been confirmed. But it will really give you a unique feel to your campaign. So a High Elven faction, yeah, great. You start in one area. You're not going to have the same experience with the other legendary lord in the other area. It's going to be straight away different subterranean lands, different enemies, different hazards, different bonuses, different penalties. Everything you're going to have to experience is going to be totally different depending on who you go for.
He faces a wholly different set of challenges.
Yes, he says that.
From his brother Tyrion in Ulthuan. Lustria's jungles
that really shows they're trying to add as much uniqueness as they can in this game.
The Slan mage priests rule over this place.
So here's where we've got the Lizardmen, Mazda Mundi, that sort of lizard temple there, Lizardman temple there, the mage priests.
Preserve the vortex and prevent calamity. The geomantic web, ancient lines of power connecting the great temple cities,
very vast jungle lands here.
Should the Lizardmen
I'm sure they'll have some
utilize
sort of
these
penalties
tools,
against you.
their efforts to enact the great plan will be much enhanced. And here we see Lord Mazdamundi,
Here's Lord Mazdamundi on his
mightiest of the living
throne.
span. He and his army
His
have
altar.
adopted the astromancy stance, granting them unmatched insight into their surroundings. Finally, let us join the legendary Saurus warrior Krok-Gar and his Lizardmen cohorts as they prepare to do battle with a high elf force at the ancient portal of the Fallen Gates.
So here we go, this is Grimlock with Krok-Gar on his back there, riding towards the Fallen Gates. Grimlock looks massive on the campaign map, which I suppose you would imagine him to be. He's a big bloody carnosaur. But yeah, this is sort of the events leading directly up to the quest battle of the Fallen Gates, literally the minutes before the battle is to start. We've seen that, of course, that battle on my channel. I showcased it last week. And this is, yeah, where the actual campaign map reveal ends. So yeah, the look at that, Fallen Gates there looking magnificent on the campaign map. And that is where, yeah, as I say, it all finishes off. So that was our first reveal of the campaign map, looking terrific, looking, as I say, very, very atmospheric. I'm loving the look of the different feels you get depending on which race you choose. They are definitely going for that uniqueness, not only in the army builds and the units you play on the battlefield with, but also on the campaign map. New mechanics in every aspect of the game. And as well, the fact that not only will it be different no matter what faction you choose, but also which legendary lords you choose in the faction themselves. So really adding that flavour to it. So yeah, I'm impressed. I'm not overwhelmed by it, because I knew it was going to be looked very similar to Warhammer 1 in its style. But still, what they have done, they've done very, very well, and they've encapsulated the feel of the new world in Lustria extremely well so far. I'm looking forward to seeing how they reveal the High Elves, sorry, not the High Elves, the Dark Elves, sorry, to us, and where they will be based in the campaign map and what their regions look like, and also obviously how they're going to integrate Skaven with the underground networks that they have in place. But again, Skaven, who the hell are they? We don't know, but yes, we'll get to know about Skaven soon. I'm no doubt about it. I can't start pretending otherwise anymore. It's just stupid. But anyway, guys, that's where I'm going to leave it today. I hope you've enjoyed this very quick run through. Sorry I'm rambling on. It's just basically me done it live instantly when the reveal's gone up. So I wanted to get my thoughts out to you as quick as I could, so I could share how impressed I am with it. But of course, let me know down below in the comments. Tell me what you think about it all, and hopefully we'll see some actual gameplay of the campaign map very soon. Obviously that was more of a cinematic, but still gameplay, actual physical gameplay will be what we want to see eventually. So yeah, thanks as always for watching, guys. I appreciate it massively, and until next time, take care and farewell.